Well, folks, here again for the weekly forecast. And during this last week, primarily dry weather was the rule of the day. We did have a little bit of precip in southeast Nebraska and some scattered showers around the state isolated last weekend, but most areas, nothing in the way of any significant moisture. And all we had was basically wind shifts through the end of the week, and the big cold air that pushed through us here on Thursday afternoon has set this growing season to an end. Of course, with these low temperatures in the 20s, and now we are looking at some very cool conditions and the possibility of additional cold air moving into our region. But before we get to that forecast, let's take a look at what the La Nina forecast for this winter is. And so this is the December, January, February period. CPC calling for cooler than normal conditions to the north, warm to the south. When we look at precipitation, two bullseyes of precipitation, northern Rockies and the eastern Corn Belt. Now as we progress forward into the January, February, March period, very cold air showing up over most of the northern plains regions and the Great Lakes. And in terms of precipitation, we still say the same signal. So we do look like we will see a colder winter than last winter and potentially more snowier than we were experiencing last winter. More importantly, as we look today, it looks kind of like we're starting to see the first surges of that cold air. Big deep trough in the upper atmosphere, ridge out into the Gulf of Alaska. Arctic oscillation is in the negative phase, so that's helping to pull the cold air down into the east. High pressure at the surface. Very cool conditions this morning. We're not going to warm up much today as most of the precip stays to the east of us. Although we will see in and out of clouds, we're not expecting any precip. Then as we go to tomorrow, another front is going to start to reinforce this cold air toward the later part of the evening. Although we are showing some surface lows, it does not look like these will produce any significant moisture because the front is moving so quickly to the south. So the main precipitation band will be along the eastern seaboard with the first initial surge of Arctic air. Then we see that cold air settling in once again on Monday, so our temperatures are going to drop. And then we will see a rebound as we go into the day on Tuesday with that high pressure moving toward the southeast. We'll start to see that get to the south of us on Tuesday. So not expecting any precip Monday. And then on Tuesday, that system quickly moves toward the east. We see a little lull, and yet another system looks like it's going to bear down to us for Wednesday. So as that cold air moves into the region, we'll start to see some drying conditions, at least in the atmospheric moisture. Most of the precip stays to the south of us. Again, good days for harvest weather, but it's going to be cool. And then we start to see sort of a northwest to southeast flow, general troughing pattern starting to build into the middle of the week. That's going to allow that cool air just to stay to the north of us, and we'll be on the periphery of that cool air. So we might actually see some snowfall across the northern reaches of the country. And then the zonal flow begins to take shape with a trough moving into the Pacific Northwest on Thursday. That will keep the cold air bottled up to our north. So we're going to see a rebound in temperatures back up to more seasonal temperatures, more into the lower 60s. As we get into the day on Thursday, most of precipitation in the Pacific Northwest, the Great Lakes, and the northeastern United States. And then we see this trough starting to approach the western United States. That's going to pump up our air, and we'll probably see our warmest conditions as we go into the day of Friday. Low pressure starts to try to take shape as we get into the late day on Friday, but most of the moisture will still remain to our north and northwest. Now, as we get into the period from next Thursday to the following Tuesday, we can see that another surge of cold air looks to be in the offing. And more importantly, with that big system coming in, above normal precipitation over most of the northern United States, and unfortunately, based on the models, the first full week of November looks to be rather wet and potentially snowy.